Figueroa, the only podcast breaking down everything happening with the Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and joining me today, as usual, is my co-host, Dar E. and Viziri, aka Dime Drop. Dime, how you doing, man?
Doing too well right now, Edwin. Too well. The sun is shining. Clippers are playing. There's something in the air, and we'll talk about it, man.
That's how I'm doing.
Should we just get right into it? I mean, is there anywhere else to start? It's got to be with the game last night, right?
Certain people, maybe some that are on this pod, pretend to be neutral and just about basketball. But, just like in Lifetime, when you're down, you get to see who really has your back. And, man, I mean, when there's at a Lakers funeral, it's all the people that they love and all the people that they hate, baby, because right now things are not going well for the Lakers. Down 0-3 in the series. It's Groundhog Day every single day. We're in a time loop. I've seen this story before. Lakers lose game 3. We're going to jump right into it. 112-105. Pretty much putting the nail in the coffin of the Lakers season, all but done at this point. Only thing we're figuring out is when is the plug going to get pulled? Will they have enough pride to win a game on Saturday? Will they push it to game 5? Or will they say, you know what? Cancun on 3. I think we can get a good rate if we book the Monday stay right now and just get ahead of it. And also avoid the weekend rush. And that's where things are looking right now, Dine. So let's jump right into it. I was there. It was the first time I've ever covered a playoff game, as a professional, because I've covered Sparks. And as you know, the last couple of years, they haven't gotten it. And last year, I was doing remote work. So I did cover the game, but not at the stadium. I was at the stadium. Very, very special. That Lakers crowd was the most, especially early on, was the loudest, most engaged they've been from the jump in any game. It was very clear it was a playoff game. And the energy was up, but it was the same story. Dime, the Lakers started off good. They started off hot. But when halftime came, I talked to a lot of people, who are covering the game just like I am. And everyone kind of felt like they're up by like 4 or 5 points. It's not going to be enough. This Nuggets team's going to come out blazing in the second half and run them out the gym. And that's exactly what happened. So we haven't really talked here on Basketball and Fig since the series was announced. We've had a couple games here. Now we're 3 games in, 0-3. Just give me some of your overall general thoughts about the game and about the series.
Wow. I mean, where do I begin? Obviously, I went live last night. If any of you guys missed it, check that out after you listen to this in depth about the game. But, Edwin, everyone seemed to know the script after the first quarter and as the game was going on. As the first half was going on, you could see even the Laker fans I follow. I mean, it was the most peaceful in terms of my mentions, my interactions with Laker fans in a Laker elimination. And I was talking the same amount of mess, taking my shots here and there. And nobody was really, and I have more followers now than ever before, nobody's really pushing back. It's like everybody knew that the Nuggets had the Lakers kind of right where they wanted them. The Lakers came out and started better through the first punch. We're up after 1 for the 3rd straight game. We're up at the half of the 3rd straight game. But as you said, it felt like everyone but the Lakers players kind of felt, because I guess they're on the court. They have the optimism they can still get it done, that the Nuggets were just too close for comfort at halftime. Too close. And, man, they turned it on. It just felt like they're so in control. And I think part of it is not just like, because we see things from the Laker angle, Los Angeles angle, what all the things that went wrong for the Lakers. A lot of it is just Denver Nuggets just a better basketball team, and they might just be the best basketball team in the league for 2 straight years. They sure look it when I watch them play. I've been saying it all year, and I've been very unwavering on this. And people are like, well, how come you don't have faith in the Clippers? It's really not even an anti-Clippers or an anti-Lakers thing. I've been very adamant about that you guys aren't going to be the Nuggets all year. They're just so good, man. It feels like when you're watching LeBron or Kobe in their prime when they're surrounded by a supporting cast. It's hard to beat that, man.
Yeah.
And the sad part is that the Lakers just can't even win a game off of them. It's which is so crazy. But I think a lot of it is that Anthony Davis, as great as he's played, I think he's the only player for the Lakers that at this point can say they're doing everything. But even there's still a little bit more, I think, in the fourth quarters, man. We've talked about it all year. AD he's not the focal point at all. And it's not even like he's the second. It doesn't even feel like he's always the second in command to LeBron. He straight up just like goes stretches without getting the ball or running anything through him besides a pick and roll. And, the argument for that is LeBron's is such a better playmaker. You know what I mean? Anthony Davis is still not the best passer out of the post, not the best passer out of the double. And a lot of times you can get him to take a contested jump shot, which is favorable for the defense, even though we've seen his jumper get a little better, revert back to maybe older AD this season. But I mean, at the end of the day, the alternative is giving LeBron the ball so much to close at the age that he is. And remember, this is the playoffs. LeBron, up until I'd say game 2, and then mainly just game 2, he was playing pretty hard defense. It's hard to ask. And in the first quarter yesterday, he was playing good defense too. But then he just kind of ran out of juice. You're asking a lot of a 39-year, like what 39-year-old NBA player was asked to be the second best player on a championship team? Maybe Tim Duncan, right? Like, how old was he when he won in 2014? 38?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
He doesn't get enough credit for that. I'm not going to lie. He was still pretty good. He wasn't as good as, I don't think he was as good as LeBron necessarily individually, but he was still damn good. But point is, that's very LeBron is asked to do a lot, right? And I think the closing is the thing with these Nuggets. You guys are in all of them. It's the same script. I compared it to Cavs and Pistons, Edwin, and you were like, okay, Dime.
Yeah.
What are we saying on that? It's crazy. I know I don't like comparing LeBron and AD to Andre Drummond, Reggie Jackson, Tobias Harris, but it just feels like whenever the Nuggets wanted to turn it on, they could. And oh man, we got to talk about, if you want to talk individual performances, we can, including Ham, who's getting the most heat from the social media world. But D'Angelo Russell too. I mean, let's just talk about all the players, because we know as a team the Lakers aren't better. So, like, what's the point of talking like schemes and stuff? Like, yeah, nobody can guard Jokic. The 2-man game is hard to guard. Like, you're missing Vando defensively. The Lakers offense isn't as good. But yeah, I think it's more fair to talk about individuals at this point, because as a team, you're not better. That's not breaking news.
All right, so why don't we jump into this? Well, let's look at it from a game 3 lens then. Rui Hachimura, 5 points, 28 minutes played. D'Angelo Russell, 24 minutes played, 0 points, 0 from 7 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3-point line. And your bench, only 2 players that really contributed significant was Dinwiddie and Prince. Dinwiddie had 8, Prince had 7. And honestly, Dinwiddie and Gabe both kind of were disappointing to me on both ends of the floor. Even with the 8 points, I was not in. I don't want these Dinwiddie minutes. The team actually shrunk the rotation. Dime. We had a DNP from Hayes, which was something that was kind of a surprise. So they actually got smaller, played less players, and those players, I don't think they performed well at all. And that's the first thing I wrote about on Silver Screen and Roll last night. While still in the stadium, was just that. Look, we're talking about you're asking too much from LeBron, AD, and I agree with you. But they've also did their thing. 26 points from LeBron, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, and 12 for 20 from the field. It's not like he, was shooting high volume or converting on 12 free throws to get those 26 points. And then AD, 33 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, that should be enough. If I give you that stat line, you should say, okay, cool. If we just get regular performances from everyone else, we might win this game. You did it. 5 points, 0 points. The bench scoring has been an issue all season. So, yeah, I'll let you kind of dealer's choice. We can talk about Rui. We can talk about D'Lo. We can talk about the bench. We can talk about Ham. Why don't we start off wherever you want on some of the things that were kind of disappointing, even compared to the regular season?
Compared to the regular season, the thing is, Edwin, it's not that different than the regular season, except for 2 guys in particular for me. Rui Hachimura, he was amazing in the conference finals last year in his role. He went missing in this series. On both ends of the floor, there's nothing for me to say about him defensively. And offensively, he wasn't looking to be that aggressive. He wasn't making any timely shots. He didn't even have more than 7 points in any of the 3 games. And I'm a Rui Hachimura fan. I liked him in Washington. I was rooting for him. It's interesting. Japanese player, black Japanese player, like, that's unique. I like his game. Post up, mid-range, big forward. But come on. You can't really give him a pass. He's been pretty mediocre. And then, Austin Reeves is an interesting one, because I think he is tasked with guarding Jamal Murray. And in the first 2 games, I'd say first game, he definitely wasn't aggressive enough. Second game, he was a little more aggressive, but he didn't make any timely shots. Didn't have a very good offensive game. Then this game, I thought he started out really well. Like, he was bodying people, going to the paint left and right in that first quarter. But it was really just the third quarter for me with Austin that he just couldn't make a big shot.
Yeah.
He didn't make a big shot, and then D'Angelo Russell, man, I don't know what to say. We've propped him up all year. We've advocated for him to be in the starting lineup again, and the Lakers' best version of themselves has been with D'Lo starting, and but he's the X factor. We know that he raises the ceiling for sure. And the thing about him is when he's not hitting shots, he's not really that great of a creator against great defenses. And defensively, at best, he's average. So
And that's
what
putting
do
it
you?
lightly. I would say it's kind of below average. And I think this
Yeah,
matchup just doesn't work for him. I think that's the thing that it's just a bad matchup for him. They play off of him, they challenge him, and like you said, once it becomes a cascading effect. Once he's not hitting those shots, and they're keeping him more open, and he's not able to create, and they're clogging the paint, and he's not, and they're picking on him defense on the offensive side of the ball. The Nuggets are. It just becomes a problem. That's why he got played off the court, and it was a very bad game from D'Lo. It's something that's happened. It's been an issue with this particular team. I think that's what's tough. I still stand by most of what I said about D'Lo. He's a great player. I don't think they should have traded him away just because from the reports of the rumors of the players available and what it was going to cost, it wasn't going to be enough of an upgrade. I didn't see anything last night that made me think, oh, DeJounte Murray would have been the X factor. I'm like, I just don't. That's just not what I believe. Could they maybe have won 1 or 2 games? I don't know. I guess I still don't think they beat the Nuggets. So personally, I know fans want to see wins, but I don't care if they're swept versus losing 6 because at the end of the day, we're going home. So, and if we gave up a draft pick and some other assets to win 2 more games against Denver and not have a future to actually get better to win a title, to me, it just doesn't make sense. So I still kind of stand by not trading him just because of what was available. I think it was marginal improvement at best. But yes, this was a bad D'Lo game. And again, the Lakers are always a fan base and a team that is focused on a championship. And I think, unfortunately, kind of like what you've talked about this about certain players. Is D'Lo a starting guard in a championship level team? Unfortunately, I'm probably saying no, unless the supporting cast is so stupendous that he is not relied on at that level, even though he's starting. Like on the Heatles or something like that. But he's not on the Heatles. He's on the Lakers. And they needed him to step up big. He didn't. And the Nuggets made the Lakers pay by giving him the opportunities to convert, and he didn't. So I think that was one of the disappointing things. I'm never really huge on the hate the coach kind of thing. I think every team hates their coach pretty much, except for Spoelstra in Miami. That's about it. Everywhere else, we hear it everywhere, right? Coaches know what they're doing. Why isn't he playing this guy? It's the same story. Insert different name, team, and coach, and you get the same conversations on all fan bases everywhere. But I will say that it felt like because of all the other things, at this point, Ham could say good morning. And people would be like, oh, can you imagine? I can't believe that guy said good morning to me. Like, how dare he? It's at that point. The fan base is sick and tired. They're frustrated. And they need to exert the energy somewhere. And it's been on Ham. And he's deserved some of it for sure. Some of the decisions haven't been great. It took too long to get to this point. Took too long to get to that point. I think at this point, though, I mean, this, like you said, the roster is just not good enough. Some increases here and improvements there probably wouldn't have made a difference regardless against the Nuggets. The Nuggets are just that good. I think they're winning it all this year. And the Lakers just have to grin and bear it. But it is frustrating to lose this way. It's 11 games in a row. I mean, that's you would think you got lucky one day. Or one day the Nuggets just, decided we don't care enough, and they have kept their foot on the pedal like champs do. And they've said, no, we're going to be relentless and maniacal. We're getting revenge for all the years Kobe got us and all the years that, we didn't win before. Like, we're not taking any sympathy. We don't see the white flag. We're colorblind, and they're props to them. They're doing what champs do. And when a champ sees you down, they eat your heart out of your chest. And that's what the Nuggets are doing to the Lakers right now.
Yeah, you mentioned that with Kobe and owning the Nuggets. Now you're seeing Jokic own the Lakers 15 years later. It's interesting, man. It's the story of basketball. Basketball history is beautiful. We got a super chat, by the way. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Any donation is appreciated for the show. Danny from LA says $5 for Edwin's haircut.
Hey, shout out. Well, my haircut's a little. I've never given the price, but do you know how much my haircut is? We're gonna need more than $5.
Over 30.
Way over 30.
Oh man,
so we need a few more super chats there. I can invoice you, but it's in the triple digits. I'll say that.
What the heck?
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Yeah, I mean, it's Curry.
Oh
Hey,
my.
I don't just let anyone touch his hair, dime. You know, like you know what I
Oh,
mean. I don't just let some guy on the on the corner of Figueroa just clip me up. You know what I mean?
on
Like
the
it's got to
corner
be
of Figueroa.
these luscious curls. You know, they bless Staples, so you know they got to be correct. But I appreciate the five. We'll put it in the pot. We'll get there eventually.
Yes, sir. Okay, so here's what I was gonna say though. I think we've said enough about D'Lo. I think you hit the nail on the head. I still though I'm not gonna let the stars off the hook because if you're talking about actually beating Denver, not just being better, it's not good enough. Everybody's so afraid to criticize these guys because they have stats that you know.
Oh yeah, LeBron. LeBron's a guy that we're so afraid to criticize. I
You,
hear his
you
clips
don't
get taken out
criticize
of
him at
context.
all. You
Oh
don't
come
criticize him at
on.
all. That second half was acceptable. He had 10 points in a do or die game in the second half. 5 of his 9 shots were threes, and he missed one of them. His body language was horrific. And I tweeted, "Is that LaQuit?" And nobody pushed back. Every Laker fan was saying he gave up. And he was not boxing out. He was not boxing out. His low man help was nowhere to be found. He was tired. We could say he quit or we could say he was tired, regardless of the answer. That's not enough. He and Wilt Chamberlain, you know what they have in common? They're the best athletes to ever play the game. They're the best athletes to ever play the game. But you know what else they are? Two of the best all-around players to ever play the game. But you know what else they are?
Good. Champions.
That's absolutely true. And you know what else they are? Masters of disguising mediocre performances with incredible statistics. That's what they are. And they're both amazing, and they both have GOAT arguments, but they both are not my GOAT. And LeBron, that was not good enough at all. Anthony Davis was awesome. Okay, I'll let you push back in a sec. Anthony Davis was awesome, but like if the Lakers want to be serious about him being a number one, you got to look to have him get better as a closer. And if this is how he's peaked as a closer, then you're gonna have to find a better one than 39 years old because he has to work too hard. I don't know. Just the way LeBron plays comes with a heavy workload. I don't think he's gonna like. Is he willing to adjust? I think you might need a third star, but this 1-2 punch as the best two with no true third star, it's not gonna get it done anymore. I said it all year.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're a 7 seed for a reason, and some of it, yes, some of it is because of the the health and him not maybe optimizing the lineup early. I'll give you that, but that's only some of it. I think even at the height, this team's probably if Ham did a stupendous job and picked the right players at the right time and everyone's healthy, I still think you're probably looking at a 4 or 5 seed, which is good and better than a 7 seed. Yeah, but I think that's probably the ceiling of this team. It's still not good enough to win the way the Thunder and the Timberwolves were and the Nuggets were. You know, these are borderline 60-win teams, right? 57, 58, 59. They're right there. I don't think this Lakers team is a 60-win team, even perfectly healthy. They're probably a 53, 52, 54-win team. So we're talking about like a handful of games, which does factor in, does matter. It means they probably would have made it out of the first round. But again, for me personally, I know that's going to be a narrative for the LeBron haters and all that. Oh, you got out of the first round. I don't care. I just care about winning the whole thing. And that's why I didn't care about losing to the Nuggets now. I don't feel like, oh, see, they should have lost on purpose. Okay, so what if we would have, let's just say we would beat the Thunder. You're going to have to face the Nuggets eventually. Someone's going to have to beat them, right? So, okay, we took them on. We lost. Cool, you know?
And the Lakers aren't a franchise that it's like, oh, well, I would love to go back to the second round. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's championship or bust with the Lakers. It's like, you're absolutely
And last
right.
year, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. And the problems there are here because you're facing the same team. It's the same team. It's the Nuggets again.
And this is where Ham has to take accountability, is that you took the whole year just to conclude that, oh, our team from last year in similar combinations is what works. Like, and it was just weird. I mean, but here's the thing, Edwin. If we had said that Vando's like going to miss more than half the season and you're going to lose Dennis Schroeder before the season started, you would say this Lakers team is not nearly going to be as good as we think. Because we really did value Vando a lot more than we're selling. I think as a basketball community, I'm not saying he would have made the difference in the series to win, but he's become so forgotten about what he did athletically to have him, LeBron, and AD out there. It felt like without Vando, so much more of the low man responsibility was for LeBron. And like there were times where Jokic was at the rim and Jokic cannot jump over a phone book or he cannot. He has no bounce at all. He's so crafty, but he has no bounce. I figured LeBron would try to go up and block, but there were several times throughout the series where he didn't even try to contest Jokic's layups. And I was like kind of blown away because it's the playoffs. You know, usually LeBron is like that backside. Like in 2020, he was shutting shit down. Like, but yeah, I guess so let me ask you a question. Anthony Davis. Do you think, because in 2020, I think he was like the 1B to LeBron's 1A as the championship guy. Do you think Anthony Davis, after having his best season, regardless of if you get swept or not, it's clear he's had his best Lakers season since 2020?
Yeah.
All things considered. I think last season, obviously, we're going to say he's had a better postseason, but offensively, he was better this time. Just defensively, he was playing against worse teams. So you got a chance to see him shine, which I think if you had seen him play against worse teams, AD's defensive impact would have been felt like we felt it all year. But something about Jokic just like neutralizes Anthony Davis's greatness defensively, which says so much about Jokic offensively. But my question is to you, do you think AD can be a clear-cut number one, like the way Giannis was on a chip-winning team? And if so, if the answer is no, why?
Well, I never really believe any big can be a number one, because I think that no matter what, when I think about that Giannis run, I think about the guards that had to play incredible games to get those wins and to carry them home. You know, I think every big needs to be paired with a guard or a wing. You know, Embiid needs a guy like Jimmy Butler. He needs a guy like Maxey that he has now. You know, Shaq needed Kobe just as much as Kobe needed Shaq. I just think you need that pairing. So with bigs, I think it's a little different. Even Giannis, like I said, I still think about the guards the Bucks had, or Bobby Portis going off. You need those kind of help. Can he be the number one guy, like the max money guy, the leader, the dominant figure? Yes, but you see it. That's why what happens to AD when he doesn't get the ball and it almost feels like he's getting iced, that'll never happen to LeBron because he carries the ball and he orchestrates the offense. So he needs help. He needs a guard who's either going to take over and he just cleans up the boards, or they need to run more actions geared towards him, especially in that fourth quarter. That's what you're seeing more of. They just weren't running stuff for him. So he wasn't getting the ball. And there you go. He kind of gets taken out. And we've seen that with AD, you know, throughout the season. We've talked about games where that's happened. I think overall he can definitely be the best player and the MVP of the team. But there has to be a playmaking guard or wing paired alongside him. It has to be kind of close. And right now, they're still missing that. I think LeBron's amazing, but as you can see, with this supporting, it's a combination of both. Supporting cast needs to be better. There's not a player on this roster that you know is going to step up and play well against a team of this caliber, right? Reeves only had one good game. D'Lo only had one good game. The bench has been awful. So it's like, I mean, it's crazy. Like, you're basically saying, not you, but just in general, you're like, the task you're asking LeBron AD is like, hey, I need the two of you to combine for 75-80 for us to have a chance to win by 4. And that's just too much to ask and to win a series. It's not realistic. So that's kind of where I am with it. I think that obviously there will be some huge changes in the offseason. We'll see what happens when we get there, which unfortunately we might be getting there this weekend. But I think no one sees this roster and says, oh, yeah, let's run it back. Because if you run it back, you're going to get the same results. There's inconsistencies among the supporting cast for them. So it's not to take away blame from them. It's just saying, where can we get improvement? And I don't think at this point you want to keep LeBron AD, but they're going to need more to get it done.
A big just won the championship, though. You said a big you don't think a big can win. A big is beating you.
That's true. But Joker's more of the orchestrator of that offense with Murray. Right. He takes the ball a lot of times at the top of the key. He dribbles a little bit more. He's a better passer than AD. He's in his prime. I would say AD's prime was probably when we first got him, and he's like slightly below that, but just slightly. It's a very, very small dip. So that's the difference. Joker's in a different area, and he's got that player, right? If you take Jamal Murray off his team, they're not winning the championship. I'm telling you right now, they're not beating Boston, right? They're going to fall short somewhere.
They're not beating you. They're not beating you without him. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Who's the one hitting the shot, right? That's what I mean. Yeah. When the game was on the line, you gave Murray the ball. And
that's what LeBron isn't that what LeBron is? Like, LeBron's better than Murray, so like it evens out.
So
LeBron's the orchestrator, right? Like the highest basketball IQ ever, some say. You know,
I think I think Murray at this point is a better shooter off those kind of pick and roll actions and those kind of ball screens than LeBron is. LeBron's good at being the hammer and driving to the basket. But as you know, in the playoffs, a little bit more context allowed. The paint gets a little more clogged. It's harder to do that, and then he's tired. And his jumper is a lot better, but still not his strong suit. When you think of the best thing LeBron is at, LeBron's best at saying, hey, I'm bigger, stronger, and a little bit faster than you. I can just get to the hoop and out-muscle you. And that's still more of a challenge at this point in the season than what Murray's doing, which is Murray's like picking a spot and taking a jumper over you, kind of like KD. It's easier to get a jumper off than it is to try to convert near the basket. It's the whole 3 versus 2 kind of argument and spacing and all that. The way the NBA works now, it works better with Murray, the way he likes to shoot, the way he likes to score, which is why you give him the ball and you don't give Joker the ball and say, hey, everyone clear out of the way, because you know what's going to happen. They're going to double him. They're going to force him to pass outside to someone else. And is that the shooter you want to take the shot? No, you do it with you. That's what's so deadly about Denver. When you have Murray and Joker doing the pick and roll, you don't want either person with the ball. So you're definitely in a pick your poison scenario. And that was what makes things so difficult. And the Lakers tried to combat that. And, obviously Murray hit a great shot over AD. And you live with that, right? I think they did everything they could in that exact scenario, that crushing loss in game 2. But, hey, Murray's going to hit that shot probably over anybody, right? So you just did the best you could. And the Lakers need that kind of player as well, which is the whole reason why they did the Russ trade, even though it was a mistake. They were looking for that kind of action, that kind of dynamic player who can kind of take some of the load off and be a dependable player. If you remember that series, why did the Lakers make that move? Because even though Kuzma was out there tweeting, he had 0 points in game 6 against the Suns. And Dennis had 0 points in the first half. And Caruso had 2 points. And the Lakers were looking around. They said, hey, our role guys didn't do anything. So they made the Russ trade. It wasn't the right move, but that's why an action like that happens. And you might see a similar action this year when they look at these stats and say, hey, these guys didn't step up when we needed help. So who can step up and help us when we need help? Who's dependable at a high level game? And as you know, that's why we love playoff basketball. It kind of exposes a little bit more because the level gets raised. And unfortunately for the Lakers, what that exposes, certain players aren't ready. LeBron's ready. AD's ready. Who else is ready? And I think that's a tough question. You start to kind of convince yourself certain players are ready when, the numbers say that they're not.
Your whole explanation was spot on, but your whole explanation was basically saying that LeBron as a second option is not what you're looking for. That's literally what it sounded like. You can't ask for role players to close games. What you have to pick up in the third star is what I'm hearing. So
yeah, I think so. I think based on this personnel, if you let me, 2K this, I can be like, okay, give me Gordon, give me Marcus Smart, right? But that's not how this works. Based on the roster and what's available, there are scenarios where LeBron and AD are the best 2 players and they have an incredible supporting cast. But that's not the scenario they're in right now. So based on the current path, I think you probably do have to go with the third star. And that's probably the best way you can try to build the roster up to compete, because I don't think they're that far, honestly. They're right there. They're still a scary team. LeBron and AD are still usually 2 of the 3 or 4 best players on the court at all times, regardless of who they play. They just need a little bit more when they're playing these literally the defending champs. We're talking about that. I think the Lakers would have been just fine in most series. The ones they could have lost were the Nuggets, Mavs, Clippers. Those are really the only 3 teams I think would beat the Lakers in the West in a 7-game series. But they're playing one of them. That's the problem.
We need to not underestimate Minnesota anymore. They're showing that they're playoff ready. Their defense is incredible. Regular season games.
And Edwards, I love. So I want to see what happens in the second round. Who they play right now if they advance to the second round?
Let's be honest, bro. LeBron and Anthony Davis are incredible players, but Kevin Durant and Devin Booker are pretty incredible too.
Well, Booker, similar scenario. When the offense isn't going, is the defense there? The Lakers, when things are tight, both of their players are playing defense, and I think that's another issue with Booker when he's not going. And usually he's going, but if you can interrupt them, I think that was a little bit of issue. And again, same thing with them. They went with Beal. I think that was a mistake. They probably could use more depth. So it's tricky. As you know, building a championship roster is tough. And figuring out what players will actually be worth better than the sum of other parts is also difficult. Minnesota's interesting. I'm definitely curious, but I'm still not sold. I want to see them beat a team that I really feel like is definitely better than them. So I'm curious to see how they do in the second round. And can they make it to the Western Conference Finals, for example? If they do that, I will definitely say that, that I underestimated them.
Want to answer that one since you were there?
Yeah, I went on a rant about this because some people clipped out the I think what the comments mentioning said, what was your opinion on LeBron's post-game comments? I think people they didn't hear the whole thing, and they saw, of course, the clip at the end of the day is just basketball. And that was not at all what the conversation was about. So I'm actually going to read Daniel Starkman from Lakers Nation was the person who kind of clipped out the entire quote. So I'm going to read it out real quick just so you can hear the full question, which was from Dan Wokey of the Times, and LeBron's answer. So here's the question. LeBron, you said in New Orleans that you guys were going to have to play near perfect basketball against a team to win. In that kind of quest for on-court perfection, have you seen guys press? And could that be part of the reason why a good shooting team has 2 games where they're sub 20%? Does sort of the stress and the pressure that they put on you, the greatness they demand, do you think that's impacted your guys' ability to meet that? And here is LeBron's answer. Quote, I don't know. It's the postseason. We're professionals. You're supposed to have anxiety and pressure. Feel the pressure. That's what it's about. That's what the postseason is about. So I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know. You have to ask the individuals that question and see how they feel. It's hard for me to be like, this is what I think. I can't do that. I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. But this is the postseason. Me, and points to Anthony Davis, who was sitting next to him, have been playing together for 6 years. And we've been to the mountaintop. We've been close to the mountaintop. We've played a lot of games. We know what it takes to win, what it takes to win a championship. And how damn near perfect you got to be. It's not like something that's so crazy to obtain. I've been a part of it 4 times, and where you have to have almost perfect basketball to win. And I've done it with him. So I'm not a guy that you should ask that, because I don't feel a way about anybody that don't want to strive to be as close to perfect as possible. And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball. Now, what people actually clipped was him at the end saying, at the end of the day, it's just basketball, and saying, oh, look at him making excuses for why they're losing, and it's not that serious. When really what he was saying is that pressure is normal. That pressure is encouraged. I'm comfortable with that pressure. It's just basketball. It's pressure in basketball. Just play. You have to be perfect anyway to win it all. That's what I interpreted from. So I think this was one of those where people, and he, again, has LeBron had bad quotes? Sure. I didn't like his implication that people's problems are still their problems when he lost against the Mavs enough. I'll give you that one for sure. But that's not what this was. This was him talking about that pressure means nothing to him because that pressure is supposed to be there and you're supposed to kind of want it. It's just basketball. This is not life or death. Give your best. You need to be perfect. Yeah, that's the job. So we've done it before. We need to do it here. Let's do it. But again, people want to, they got the pitchforks ready. So I think people read that and thought, oh, they saw literally just that clip, the last 2 seconds of that sentence, and didn't hear anything he said before. And it kind of gave off he's saying it's not that serious, when really everything else about it was pretty serious. And that's what he was talking about, that you're supposed to want this pressure. This is the pressure you're supposed to want. Yeah.
Well, I guess we won't talk about, I see your question, Tony, in the comments, but I think we're going to respect the fact that the Lakers are not out yet, and we're not going to talk about what we actually think is going to happen in the offseason. Yeah. I think we can still let them finish it out. My last question for you before we go is to the Clippers is Darvin Ham. He played D'Lo only 24 minutes because he was struggling. Do you think he should have rode it out with him and just said, screw it, he still should get 30 minutes, and I hope he's going to find his shot? Or do you think playing Dinwiddie 20 minutes, even though he hasn't really done much as a Laker, was the right move? I don't think it's either way. It probably wasn't the difference going to be a difference in winning, but just his opinion as a fan.
I think if you tell me D'Lo or Dinwiddie, I'd still say D'Lo. But I think I would have just liked to see Max Christie or something else. Like, let's try something else.
We knew that wasn't going to happen. He's been slighted all year, Max Christie.
He has been. So that was disappointing. But I'm okay with Ham saying, you know what? You're not playing good enough. I'm trying to win this game. So I'm going to try someone else. You're literally can't make a shot. Like, legitimately. What's the worst that Dinwiddie's going to do? The same? Let me try something else. So I'll give Ham credit for that. He's taking criticism from D'Lo about him not playing. And hey, D'Lo, like, you got to tough it out, man. Like, I'm sorry. This is a playoff game. Like, you're not bringing it. And it wasn't like it was a short leash. You had the whole game to kind of play through it, and you haven't. And, we're fighting for our season here. We got to bring someone in to try something. So I was actually okay with it. I'm very curious to see how Game 4 is going to go. But my goodness. Oh, man. It's been something else. But I'm just looking forward to talking Clippers now.
Let's do it. Clippers Game 3 coming up in less than an hour. First, let's ask you, Edwin. I mean, how do you feel about these first 2 games? I think most of us would have predicted that it would have been a split. But the thing is, the story of the series has been Kawhi Leonard's availability. First game, he didn't play. What was your reaction, first off, seeing first game, Clippers actually won without Kawhi, Mavericks laid an egg, and James Harden was like the player of the game, him and Zubats?
I've been telling you, I know. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you got like 52 drafts talking about Harden ain't that guy in the playoffs saved on your Twitter.
Come on. But that also takes a second.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I got them right there. The drafts are in my mind, right? Yeah.
I think,
But I'm like,
hey, I specify when I say this playoff stuff with when West comes to Westbrook, when it comes to Harden, I never say they're not good in the playoffs. I say at the highest level because there's a difference. There's
okay,
levels within the playoffs as well.
that's true. That's true. But the Mavs are a pretty high level. This 4-5 is not your average 4-5.
True.
I think
And that's why he deserves credit for what he did, no matter what, that first game.
I think whoever wins this 4-5 matchup is going to the Western Conference Finals. I don't believe in the Thunder like that. So I think I'll take either one, Clippers or Dallas, depending on who wins this one. But no, I was definitely surprised when Kawhi was officially ruled out, and we talked behind the scenes about I heard this, I heard that, and guess what? He didn't play, which surprised me. But when I heard he was out, I'm like, oh, well, that's it. And then I had a few friends who are, believe it or not, I know some other Clippers people, and they were like, nah, I think we can still do it. I'm like, okay. And I was surprised, again, you can get punched in the face, and that's why you have more than 2 stars. That's why you try this 3-star approach, because hey, for a game, can Harden do enough? Can Westbrook do enough? Can PG do enough? And on that game 1, the answer was yes. And they got it done without Kawhi. And I was like, oh man, that's wild. So I was definitely surprised by that. And in game 2, as we know, Kawhi came back. He did not look like his normal self. It looks like he looks like what he is, right? A player he's not really sure about those legs. He's a little rusty as well. And it's tough to find yourself a groove in such a high intense game. When the other team, by the way, I know the narrative nationally is, oh, Luka, he eats the Clippers for breakfast and this and that. But you know what they know deep down inside? We haven't beat these guys. And now we just felt we're 0-1. That was without Kawhi. They got Kawhi. We fall down 0-2. This can get ugly bad. So even though it was the second game, the Mavs were definitely on, and you could tell from the way Luka was playing and post-game comments, he knew we need this game. If we don't get this game, it might go the other way quick. And it stays. I was still impressed with how close it was. I thought the Clippers might have pulled it away. Of course, in the fourth quarter, Luka went off, and you had that run by the Mavs. I think it was like a 9-0 run that really gave them control. But right before then, I was like, I think the Clippers might actually, come out of this unscathed and win both games. But before the series, you're right. I would have thought they were going to split, which is what ended up happening. I had Clippers in 7, so I'm expecting this to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. And so far, at least in terms of the score, it's reflecting that. We're all even, and we're heading back to Dallas tonight.
Total tale of 2 shooting games for the Clips. I'm looking at the averages right now, and I haven't actually sat down and checked the averages for the series so far. And people are shooting better from 3 than they are from 2. And that's all because the first game we were raining, starting with Harden, and then the second game we were bricking everything. But you got to give Dallas's defense credit, Edwin. This is not the same. I mean, of course, when they went to the conference finals, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock, those guys had a really good defensive postseason. And then Luka even had some decent moments defensively where he showed, okay, it's not the same as attacking him the previous years. But then last year in that season that didn't make the play-in, he looked very disinterested on defense, probably because also he lost faith in the team and stuff like that. But now you saw the Clippers attacked him at the end of the game, and he was holding his own. And that was very impressive. And Dallas's defense with guys like P.J. Washington, who's suddenly become a good defender, I guess. I mean, I never heard about P.J. Washington's defense in in Charlotte. But he was doing a pretty good job. But, yeah, it's all about Kawhi, right? Working him back in. And that's why it sucks when your players get hurt and have to come back in the playoffs. They have to work their way back. And it's like you don't have time in the West. You don't. But we'll see how much better he looks today in about an hour, because there's no beating the Dallas Mavericks to me without a healthy Kawhi. I know that we won in 1 game, but I don't believe that's consistent. Last game, though, man, I think it was hard to pick out anybody who did play well. I think Russ added some pace to things, but you're starting to see, bro, that same conversation we've had. Russ needs to, there's a lot that he needs to do to stay on the court for whatever reason. Ty Lue doesn't like the lack of spacing, or just prefers having James out there with a different combination of players. Harden, I think his stats look better than what he's actually played. His second game was for me just terrible. I'm not saying he was better than others, but that's not saying much. He's just so much ball pounding, and when I was actually losing my mind, so some really bad possessions that resulted in makes, but they're bad possessions, and you knew they were going to come back to bite us. And a lot of them, everybody just was ball pounding too much, Kawhi included. So much. It was frustrating to watch. And it happens when you put ISO players together on one team, and it's just too much, man. It's just too much.
Well, I feel like I like a good, not the whole game, but there were some really nice stretches from Zoo in game 2 that I really liked. I thought he was fighting hard. He was getting some extra boards, giving your team a few extra possessions as well. He had 13 points. I think he had double-digit rebounds as well.
Rough first half though, but second half was much better. But
the second half, I feel like he was trying to keep them in it, especially in the fourth quarter early on before the Mavs went on that run. I felt like, oh, Zoo's kind of holding his own. He's doing what we asked him to do, which is to step up a little bit more. And he can clean up some of that ISO ball and that stuff, because really what the problem is with those opportunities is, well, if they miss, it kills possessions. But if Zoo's out there getting those rebounds, it resets the offense and gives them some more opportunities. So I think that's why I think Zoo's he's one of those players that you have to depend on. And that's what I'm talking about. The Lakers didn't have someone like this that's not Anthony Davis to be like, okay, do the dirty work, get the job done, clean up. I think the silver lining in that game 2 loss is Zoo, show him that tape of that fourth quarter, especially those first 5 minutes. He'll be like, Zoo, if you're like this, it's really going to take us that other way. And if this is going to be a close series, which I think it will be, the margins are where you're going to have to focus on, right? I know that Luka's going to kill it. Kyrie's going to kill it. I know that a couple of those star players, I don't know which ones, because like you said, Russ, what's going on? Kawhi's what's going on? PG's been all right. But a couple will be good enough. So it's going to be like those role players are going to really kind of stand out. They have to step up. And that's where Zoo is. He's definitely an X factor. Zoo gives his best. Zoo plays his best. That's the difference between losing in 6 or winning in 6 or 7, I think, for the Clippers. So I feel pretty good about their chances against the Mavericks, honestly. But just for tonight, what are you thinking? Not the whole series, but just game 3 here, first game in Dallas. How are you feeling about what's going to happen for game 3?
I'm very interested to see how Kawhi looks. I think the Clippers are still going to look to kind of establish him. I want to see less ball pounding from everyone, particularly Harden and Kawhi. Just get on with it. And I just think too much James Harden, I'm not a fan of. You know this. There's no more sugarcoating. It's playoff time. I don't care what his stats say. That's when you have the ball in your hands a lot, and you're good at basketball, which he is, you can get some stats, but it's not always the best for the team, process-wise. Paul George was way too quiet after he was actually shooting efficiently in the first half last game. Way too quiet in the second half. If Kawhi's not playing great, give the ball to Paul George. And, if Kawhi's not 100%, Paul George is our best scorer, right? Harden's our best playmaker, regardless of if Kawhi's healthy or not. But Paul George is our best scorer if Kawhi's not feeling 100%. Got to look for him to be aggressive, get to the basket. And I'm hoping for a big Norman Powell game, Edwin, because he hasn't done anything so far this series. And we've talked about how great he's been. Also, more Westbrook. Let's get him. The Mavs' weakness is transition defense. They're better in the half court. Get them up and down. Russell Westbrook getting at the defense's heels and finding guys for some open threes. I think we didn't generate enough open threes. A lot of stagnant possessions. Some shots and fouls at the end of possessions that completely bailed us out, that aren't good process at all. And then I'd say Zubats, reestablishing him down low. As you said in the first game, dominant in the post. We've never talked about Zubats in a playoff game being good in the post. It's always he's blocking shots, decent rebounding, putbacks, but never as a go-to guy. That was really refreshing to see this actually do that. So I hope to see that. And then my last one is, let's see Daniel Tice instead of Plumlee. I think his foot speed is going to be better for this series. I've been saying he's better all season long. Tice instead of Plumlee. Let's see how it goes. But as you know, Edwin, it all starts with Kawhi Leonard. It all starts with Kawhi Leonard. There's no defensive adjustment or anything. Last game, we ended with the blitz on Luka, but I think we should start in drop coverage with Zoo, see if we can stay in front of the ball. And then when Kyrie's out, we blitz. Just get the ball to Luka's hands, make the other guys beat us. But yeah, it's all about Kawhi. You already know that.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question, but you already answered it about who should be playing that didn't play, because you had a lot of DMPs. Obviously, the rosters are shrinking now that we're in the playoffs. And yeah, I would like to see Daniel as well. I think that's probably the only player who you can feel like can step up at this point that hasn't gotten those kind of minutes on a consistent basis. So yeah, that might be interesting. I'm always curious, like you said, last season, maybe the Ty Lue adjustments were a little overrated, but I'm still curious to see what adjustments he makes here in this series, because there's definitely some to make. And I feel like obviously the Clippers would have liked to have protected home court, but you already know what's going to happen when you're playing Dallas. It's going to be, the home court doesn't even matter. You just got to kind of keep up with them and try to edge them out at the end. So far, I think, you're not thrilled being 1-1, but you're like, okay, we've been to Dallas with 4-1 games. We need to get one. And then we got our home court back, and it's a chess match. This series is much more of that than than like let's say the Lakers were, which is like it started as an uphill battle, and the hill just keeps steeper and steeper the more it's gone. All right, cool. I want to quickly just touch up on the Sparks training camp. Do you have anything else you want to add before we kind of move on to that part?
No, not really. I just thought this was an interesting statistic. Guess who the leader in the playoffs right now with time of the ball in their hands is? Not usage rate, the actual time the ball is in their hands.
From all the NBA, the entire thing?
Playoffs, yeah.
Well, this is basketball and Figueroa, so I would probably be thinking we go Clippers. I don't think it's LeBron. It's not AD. It can't be Harden.
Harden is fourth.
Okay, Harden's fourth. Okay. All right, let me ask one question. Is an LA-based player?
No, it's not.
No? Okay.
It's just a basketball question. He has a lot of offensive weight to carry on his team right now.
Brunson?
Yep, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, there it is. There we go. I got it. All right.
Number 2 is in an LA-involved series, though.
I dropped you there. LA-involved series. Murray.
Nope. Jamal Murray is 5th, though, right behind Harden.
Okay.
It's pretty obvious. LA-involved series. Who has the ball in their hands all the time?
So the Joker?
Nope, but that's a good guess. Even more ball dominant.
I just don't feel like it's LeBron.
Okay. There's somebody else that might hold the ball more than LeBron these days in an LA-involved series.
It can't be AD, really?
Wow, you're really blanking on this, man. You're thinking too hard. Well, just think of all the teams involved in the Los Angeles series right now.
I mean, Luka.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know why I did that. I'm just thinking about the Lakers here. I'm like, well, no, wait, hold on. There's other two. Yeah, you're right.
Number 3 is Tyrese Maxey. But anyway, what was you gonna say? Oh, your Sparks training camp. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody asked a question about the Sparks, by the way. I guess we might as well answer it.
Yeah. What was the question?
Someone also asked, do you both see the Lakers winning at least one game? I honestly don't at this point.
No, I think if they win the game, it's because they started off so hot in game 4 that they decided, you know what, let's do it. I think what's going to happen is they'll probably start okay, and the minute the Nuggets go on a run, they're going to fold. You're going to see everyone stop getting back on D. You're just going to see them implode. Kind of like what you saw during the Russ season, where when they got punched in the mouth during any random Tuesday, they're like, you know what, we're just going to lose today. Melo, shoot your shots. I don't care. Like, we're done. I think that's what it's going to be. You're going to see a lot of whatever, and they're just going to be like, you know what, who cares? Because at this point, it's got to be demoralizing to have played your ass off and lose every game. You're like, you know what, we could just chill and also lose. Like, why am I busting my ass if we're going to lose anyway? So I think that's what you're seeing with LeBron and AD as well. They're like, look, we got to both put 40 apiece to lose by 3. Forget it, man. Like, let's just put up 25 and lose by 12. Like, I don't care. I think that we're at that point right now. But I mean, I hope to see them win one. I would rather see that than to lose. But I think at this point it's done. The question here: will you guys be watching WN games this year? I will. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will make it interesting. Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're going to be covering. We'll be focusing more on the Sparks as their season goes on. The Lakers they might be on the way out, so that content will kind of trickle down as time goes on, and the Clippers will kind of be our more dominant team while they're still running. And we're going to kind of always shift it. That's why it's it's basketball and Figueroa. It's everything happening right now. Lakers and Clippers are forefront, Sparks in the background, and that'll start switching around as we go through the summer there. So yeah, let me go quickly through here. Training camp's actually starting this weekend. It starts on the 28th time, and they just announced their 19 player roster. So it's pretty lengthy here. What's interesting about WNBA is there's only 12 spots, so they're gonna have to do some massive cuts here. Obviously, players like Cameron Brink and like Lexi Brown aren't going to get cut. So I'll be curious to see what's going to happen there. Media Day's on the 1st of May, so I'll definitely be present there. And I'm going to try to make it to one of the practices prior to that, but I'm not sure just because I have no idea what the Lakers are going to look like. Am I going to be doing exit interviews on Sunday? Am I going to do exit interviews on Monday? Will there be a game 5 on Tuesday? Like, I do not know. So right now, everything's kind of up in the air, as I'm sure it's the same for you. Normally, we can schedule our stuff so much because we got an 82-game schedule to kind of play with. But right now, everything's kind of fluctuating. So I'll definitely be at Media Day. I'm excited to see what the team's going to look like, talk to the rookies a little bit, and just kind of, we don't have to talk too much about it. I just want to kind of let people know, hey, training camp starting there, Media Day starting there. Obviously, Lakers and Clippers are in a more important part of the season. but it's kind of getting started here. And as the NBA season comes to a close, we'll be kicking that off. So that's the only thing I have to say about that for now. And if you have a question, we can go ahead and do it, Dime. If not, we can go into kind of previewing what's left of this upcoming week before our next episode.
I just want to say I'm excited. I saw a couple LA women's basketball stars on social media at the game last night. Obviously, Juju was courtside, but in the suite, Rakia, Mackenzie Forbes, and Cam Brink with the Magic Man. He is everywhere, isn't he, the Magic Man? I cannot wait to get the Spark season started, baby. Now Edwin and I are going to be on the same team. It's going to be great. We will be there no matter what.
Yeah, united once again. So it'll be fun to actually root for the same side without any kind of.
We support all the same teams. It's just basketball. It's the only one, and soccer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and soccer too. Yeah, for sure. All right, cool. So yeah, that's coming up, and like I said, next week. Well, probably the week after, we'll have more of an update after media day's over and stuff. We're gonna probably record before that. So okay, upcoming games. Obviously, we have tonight's game, Clippers Mavs. ESPN is happening. Within the hour here. My official take. Man, part of me wants to pick them to win. I do think they win one of these two. I'm going to say the Mavericks take care of Game 3. What's your stance for tonight for right now?
Oh, God. I'm going with the Clippers, of course, dude.
All right, cool.
Oh, Clippers, man.
All right, Thursday.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to give a shout out to this guy because he was being nice. Where's he at? In the comment section, Jacob Armstrong. I'm a Mavs fan, but I've come to really like you, Darian. Keep it up, man. Appreciate you, bro. I'm guessing you're funny from Locked On Mavs. Dude, I've been getting a hell of love in the Locked On Mavs comment section, not like the Lakers. And the funny part is, bro, the Lakers should be liking me the most. I'm a Clipper fan that actually respects the history, respects the Lakers, keeps it 100 throughout the season without biased takes. I just not a huge LeBron guy anymore, like I used to be when I was a kid. But I mean, it's the only reason they hate it on.
You'll come around.
With who? LeBron?
Yeah.
What is there to come around on? I mean, he's one of the best players of all time. I've watched him more than any player.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think you'll. I think here's my take. Super 20 years from now, you're gonna like LeBron more as time goes on than you do right now. I think this is a low point for you.
That's gonna be facts. Of course, because he made a big impact on my life. Like I've watched him more than any player ever. He's my first favorite player of all time. I was obsessed with LeBron. I had a fat head of him right here on this wall. Now it's a green screen for business. But it used to literally.
You gotta bring it back. Bring the fat head.
No. I tore it off when he started recruiting Kawhi. That was the last straw for me. I was like, dude, you need more help. I thought you were my GOAT. Like you were my idol.
Look. Don't you see out here? It's rough.
But no, that was LeBron 5 years ago, though, when he was the best player on the planet, or one of top 3.
Yeah, easier argument than now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and he was already getting AD, who's like top 5 as well. I was like, dude, like, do you just want to just waltz to a championship? But anyway, someone said, all right, I'm not gonna read the last comments. Yeah, that's basically all I got, Edwin. I'm excited for this game. It's always exciting to be involved in playoff games. And here's the thing, right? Even if we lose, we're just finding out more about the Clippers at the end of the day. Exactly. It's not the end of the world. It'll be the end of the world if we're down 3-1, but we're just finding more about the Clippers.
It's just basketball time.
Well, you want to know something funny, Edwin? I think this is true. I'd have to really think. Okay. In every single series that the Clippers to me have ever had a real chance in my time as a fan. So meaning every series besides the one against the KD Warriors when we had Lou Williams as their best player.
Yeah.
We have never been down 3-1. I've never experienced that as a fan. Yeah, I've never experienced it.
Yeah. So
I'm not saying I want to. I'm not saying I want to.
This could be the weekend, No, I don't think it'll happen. I think y'all get one. So, but before we get into that, sandwich into it. Lakers, Nuggets, 5:30 ABC. And everything in my mind says, come on, dude, this is over. But you know what? I'm going down with the ship. Why not? I said Lakers in 7, so technically that is still possible. So I'm going to go with the win, but obviously I already said with the super chat that I don't think they'll win, but I'm going to go with the win. Let's I'm the kind of person, I don't leave Vegas with any money, you know what I mean? Like I'm going to go until I get the 83-cent voucher from the machine. Like that's where I'm going to go. So that's the kind of better I am. So I'm going to go Lakers win. What do you think is going to happen on Saturday?
Just make sure you got the dustpan ready for me when I get the broom out.
Oh man, I've already gotten some broom emojis in my text, so I might have to block some people. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I've gotten them already. I know you already did some weekend cleaning there. So man, all right, Sunday, Clippers Mavs. You already have the Clippers winning the first game on the road. Do they get the second one?
Dallas, they'll tie it up.
Okay, cool. And here I'll flip. I go Clippers win this one. 12:30 matinee, Clipper Classic. They'll take care of business. They'll win this one. It'll go even going back to crypto for Game 5. All right. Monday, we don't know if we're going to record or not. You know, Dime and I, that's usually the day we record the pod. If the Lakers win, that means it'll make recording a little bit trickier. If they lose and they're swept, obviously that makes Monday an easy day for us to record because there's no Clipper game, there's no Laker game. So we'll see about that. If not, we'll figure that out behind the scenes. But that's the if necessary game so far. We don't know if the Lakers and Nuggets is going to go 5. We're going to find out on Saturday. So I'm ready to close it out if you're ready, Dan.
Ready to roll and ready to beat the shit out of Dallas.
That's the end of episode 26 of Basketball Figueroa. I'm Edwin Garcia. That was Darian Vaziri, a.k.a. Dime Dropper. We out.